Guys, what's up? It's the Floosh with Model Rockets here, and welcome back to another video. And guys, today, welcome to part 2 of me building the Estes Protostar. I really hope you guys enjoy this, but first, if you guys are having a wonderful day, I hope you really are. But if you are, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Also, leave a like on the video if you guys do enjoy it, and you guys are excited for part 3. Turn on notifications to become a part of the Floosh Force, and so you guys will never miss any of my uploads, and so you guys will have a chance to be the first commenter on all of my videos and get a shout out, just like TomatoFishGaming. Shout out to them. They were the first commenter on my last video, so I will leave a link to their channel in the iCard right there. And I will also leave a link to their channel in the description. They do have a YouTube channel. Now, if you guys want me to shout out your YouTube channel, first off, all you have to do is get first commenter on the video. But if you want me to shout out your social media or whatever, just leave the link to your social media in the comment, and then just tell me what it is. Like, if it goes to your Twitter or whatever, just yeah. And if you want me to shout out your YouTube channel, just comment on the video with the account that you post YouTube videos on. But anyway, with that being said, TomatoFishGaming, their channel, if you guys remember my friend Evan from I Dared Evan Games to Do What, that video, where we each dared each other in the previous, well, we each did a video where we dared each other to do something in our next video, and then I did that in the next video. So here's a iCard to the I Dared Evan Games to Do What video, where I dared Evan to do something. You guys will have to watch that video to find out. And then also here's an iCard to the video that I did his dare, where he dared me to do what I had to do. So there's a link to that, the iCard. And yeah, so with all of that being said, if you guys have not already watched the first 2 videos over the Estes Protostar, where I unboxed it and then I built it, well, I'm not done building it, but like, this was the part 1 of me building it. I'll leave another iCard up there to the playlist where you guys can watch those videos. I definitely recommend watching those videos before you watch this one, because everything will make so much more sense. But without further ado, welcome to me building it again, part 2. Woo! Okay guys, so I am back for part 2 of building the Estes Protostar rocket. If you guys do like the rocket, I will leave a link to the rocket on Estes page down in the description, so that you guys can get it, buy it, whatever, if you want it. So with that being said, we're gonna get into our next step. So if you guys remember, last time I left off having glued our 3 fins. I didn't sand them or anything, because I'm gonna be doing paper skins on them. But before I do paper skins on them, I need to trace them on paper so I can get a skin for it. So what you're gonna need for this is you're gonna need a piece of paper, of course, your fin, and then a pencil. So I'm gonna trace around these fins. You have to do it both ways, because we're gonna be doing it on both sides of each fin. So you're gonna have to trace a fin facing one way 3 times and a fin facing the other way 3 times. So there's 1, and now I'm just gonna do that 3 more times. So here's a time lapse. Okay guys, so I'm done tracing the fins now. So I'm going to set this piece of paper aside, and we will get a new piece of paper, so you're going to need another piece of paper. And now you can use the same exact fin for all 3 of the tracings, but this time, so now when I cut these out, this is going to cover this side of the fin for all 3 of these fins. But I need to cover this side. So we are going to trace this one 3 more times, but we're flipping the fin this time, so that then we're gonna make sure that we're covering, that we're getting a skin for both sides of the fin. So there, I traced it. Now I'm just gonna do that 2 more times. So here's the time lapse. Okay guys, so I'm done tracing those out now. Now, I'm not going to cut these out yet, but I will later when we need them. But the reason that I traced them beforehand was because now I need to sand them. And when I trace them, for the paper skins, when I sand them, they're gonna get just a little tiny bit smaller. And for paper skins, you want the paper to be bigger, so that actually, like, you make sure that you cover the whole fin, and that part of the fin isn't, like, not covered with the paper. So that's why I traced them before I sand. So I'm gonna get a piece of sandpaper, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I have my sandpaper, and also we're going back to the instructions here. We are right here in the instructions, and it shows how we have to sand the sides, which, I mean, I already glued them together, so I'm gonna kind of try and sand some of the glue off. So we've already done these parts, and though it's talking about me rounding both of these edges. So, okay, so we are going to round both these edges. Normally on most rockets you only have to round one. Now these fins in particular are going to be a little bit harder to round, but we'll get through it, and then we will just sand the sides. So right here with me I have, well, of course, the 3 fins, but also I have a piece of 240 sandpaper, which is pretty smooth. Again, like I said, with sandpaper, the higher the grit, the smoother it is. The lower the grit, the rougher it is. So this is a kind of smooth paper to the point where it will still get stuff off, but I'm only sanding wood, so I'm going to sand it delicately. So I'm going to work on sanding the sides first right here, so we're going to have a quick time lapse. Okay, so for those of you guys who are wondering what the heck happened to the other set that I had from when I was unboxing this rocket and why I changed it, well, because I was in my room in the other set, and you see how much dust is here? That would be in my room. And I do not want that in my room. So, anyway, I'm now done sanding the sides of, both sides of all 3 of these fins. They're very, very smooth now. So, yeah. Now, I'm gonna kind of sand the sides here and make those smooth. So, we're gonna work on that right now. So, here we go. Guys, this is why you have to be very careful while you're sanding. You see that? I waited for it to dry, but the glue came loose. I'm just thankful that that happened now and that it didn't happen later. And also that the whole fin didn't, like one of the actual fin pieces broke. But this was a weak point in the wood because that was where they were glued together. So I'm gonna have to reglue this and then finish sanding this some other time. So I'm gonna reglue this. I'm not gonna show it on camera or anything, but I am going to resume once this is dry and once I resand it. And I'm also gonna have to resand the sides because there's gonna be glue on them. So okay guys, so I have re-glued this fin here, so that is now over with. Now it's still rough, so I'm gonna have to smooth the side down, sand it down, and then continue sanding the sides like I was before it broke. So yeah, so here's a time lapse. Okay guys, so I'm now done sanding these 3 fins, sanding the edges here, and so I sanded this edge and this edge on all 3 fins, and also I sanded this side and this side of all 3 fins. Got it about as smooth as I can get it, and our final step for sanding these before we put on the paper skins is going to be rounding. So in rocket terms, the side of the fin that goes on the rocket is always called the root edge, and then so this is the top edge of the fin, so it goes on the rocket like this. So this is going to be our top edge of the fin, this is the bottom edge. So this is our leading edge, and this is our trailing edge. So we need to round our trailing edge and our leading edge. Most rockets only have you round the leading edge, but this rocket is special, so we have to round it. And it's kind of going to be hard because it's on a curve, but I'll get through it. So here is a time lapse. Okay guys, so after about half an hour, I have finally rounded all the fins. Now for those of you guys who don't know what rounding is, it's pretty much something that helps with aerodynamics. It is where if you look right on this, whoops, that is a really bad angle. So if you look right here, that used to be square, now it's a triangle, and now if you look at it, how it's nice and curved, that helps for aerodynamic purposes. So I had to do both sides of this, the leading edge and the trailing edge, and I do that for all 3 fins, and I finally got it done. So yeah, here are our fins. They're really, really nice, honestly. They're nice and smooth, and yeah, so now we're going to do our paper skins. So I'm going to put up the sandpaper, and then I will be right back. Okay guys, so I put up the sandpaper, and now this is what you guys are going to need to do paper skins on your fins. Actually, I'm missing one aspect, and that's the fins, but this is what you're gonna need. You have your 3 fins right here. You're gonna need those. You're gonna need some Q-tips, probably not this many. I just brought some. I just brought a lot. because I mean I don't know how many I'll need, but I doubt I'll need that much. You're gonna need some extreme power thin. You guys can find this at like Hobby Lobby, wherever. It's pretty much just like thin super glue, like really really thin. Like it has the, if you can hear that, it has the consistency of water practically, but it's super glue, so you have to be very very careful with it. Then you're gonna need some of this 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive spray. You guys can also find this at like a Hobby Lobby. And then you're gonna need some wax paper or parchment paper, either one works. And then you're gonna need your fin traces that we traced earlier. So yeah, so I'm going to start with, I think, this one, because when I turn it over it'll be the right side. So I'm gonna do this. So what you're gonna need, you can put the extreme power thin and Q-tips away for now. You will not need those, but you do need your parchment paper and your trace alignment and your super adhesive. So here is how you do a paper skin. We're gonna take this, we're gonna shake it up, we're gonna spray it on this paper. We're gonna take these fins, we're gonna put them on this, and that's gonna stick them. We're gonna stick all three. Then we're gonna take our scissors, we're gonna cut them out. We're gonna cut them out a little bit wide because we can always sand off the excess paper later. The tracing just kind of gives me an idea of where to cut it. I might cut a little wider than that, you never know. The reason that it's shorter now and it doesn't fit in it exactly is because of the because I sanded them. So you're gonna stick them in like that once you spray the adhesive on, and you're gonna have the parchment paper / wax paper or whatever on it, or under it. So I'll cut these out and I'll stick them on, and then once we cut them out, we're gonna take the extreme power thin, we're gonna put it on a Q-tip, and then we are going to rub it all over the paper and then let it dry, and then we're gonna do the other side. So yeah, that's how it's gonna work. So I'm going to shake up the spray adhesive, and this is pretty much just to help us get the paper on there, and then we put on the extreme power thin. So here we go. Oh wait, I gotta take the fins off. Spray the paper, not the fins. You can technically do it either way, but I would definitely suggest the paper, because worst case scenario, oh no, you ruined the paper. Paper is replaceable. The fins aren't exactly. You'd have to buy a whole new kit. So here we go. It's really easy to use. Pretty much the adhesive. So now we're gonna stick this fin on there. It's not like super bad. It's just a little bit wet and a little sticky. If you get it on your hands, wash them, but it'll be fine. It's not like super glue where it's gonna like super glue your hands down. It's not like that at all. So yeah. Then we're gonna take this one and we're gonna put it right here. Okay, so also I technically lied too, because I said I had that was all of your requirements. I forgot you're also going to need some scissors, because now that we are done spraying this down, parchment paper was there because heck, all that sticky stuff would have gotten on the table, and no matter what, paper will not stick to parchment paper, I don't think so. Now then, we're gonna cut out the paper, and we are going to put the super glue on. So as you can see, I'm cutting it out a little bit wide. On purpose, because then again, you never know when you're gonna need a little bit of space. So then you can just throw the extra scraps away. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut out all of these before, go ahead and cut them all out now. So here's a quick time lapse. Okay guys, so I'm done cutting these out. Now, word to the wise, don't do what I did, because don't spray that much spray adhesive, because it's really, really hard to cut out. You don't need as much as I used, so don't use that much. But other than that, yeah, so like I said, the paper skins are completely optional. They're mainly just to help with like getting to where you don't see the wood grain on the finish, which makes the rocket look very, very nice. So I mean, like I said, it's optional. You don't have to do it. This is just an extra step I'm doing, but you don't have to do this at all. And then you can just go on to gluing the nose cones onto the fins, because that's what's after this. After like you sand them and stuff, you just you sand the nose cones and glue them on. But yeah, so we're gonna continue with this. Now, I have a little tiny bit left of this extra power thin in this bottle. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this, and as you can see, we're going to do it over the wax paper. But I'm just putting it all over this Q-tip. Now, this has a very, very strong aroma. So, I, first off, definitely recommend closing it. And also, I recommend, as you can see, I'm just rubbing it on there, rubbing it all over the fin, getting it on the rounded edges. But I would also recommend, being in a well-ventilated area, but also make sure that you're supervised by an adult if you've never used this before, because it can be very, very sticky and dangerous. Now, it just looks like I'm rubbing water on this with a Q-tip, but this is super glue. So be very precautious. Also, make sure you always have a point to hold the fin by, and make sure that you're not painting yourself into a corner, as some would say. So you're not just like trapping yourself. Now, there's a little tiny bit of glue on the wax paper, so I'm gonna use that. This stuff is kind of expensive. Like I said, you can get it at Hobby Lobby for about $5. One bottle. So, yeah. So, if I get it on the rounded edges here, I want to make sure it's on there nice and well. And there we go. This one is now done. So, yeah, so that's done. So now I'm gonna do the other two. So, here is a time lapse.
What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules?
I'm now done putting the extreme power thin on the fins and the paper skins. And another thing that paper skins do is they actually help strengthen the fins. So this line right here on all the fins where I glued them together, that will actually be strengthened a little bit because of the paper skins. So that is all that we can do right now. So we are going to let these dry, and then we are going to sand them. Okay guys, so I am done. These are done drying. So now we're going to sand them. So I'm gonna get a piece of sandpaper and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back with a piece of 240 sandpaper. So I'm going to be sanding these and making the paper nice and smooth. So here is a quick time lapse.
I was running.
I am now done sanding the sides of this. They're nice and smooth now, which is what I wanted. So I'm done sanding these sides of the fins with the paper skins on them. So our next job is to get this excess paper off of the fins. So I'm just gonna kind of try and somehow do like a full, like, I don't know if you guys know, if you fold pieces of paper and like back and forth, then eventually what will happen is they will rip in that one space. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this excess paper. I'm kind of trying to rip it right now without revealing any of the fin, because I don't want to, I don't want it to show the fin really. So we're gonna just try our best here to get this excess paper off. Okay guys, so I finished this fin right here, and as you can see, it's not the cleanest finish on the paper skin. So the best technique I found out to taking this off is sanding right on the edge of where the excess is, to where you weaken it, and then it rips off very easily. So I'm gonna do that for the other two fins. And yeah, so here's a time lapse.
Held in the echoes, secrets that we know, doors that open for us in a moment. Keeping the light on, righting old wrongs, keeping our sights on everything we want. We catch our breath in the middle of it all, chasing echoes. Sun is cut up over the rest is coming. Crystal vision.
Okay guys, I have now finished sanding off the excess paper on these fins. So those are all done sanding wise. So we are going to get ready to do our paper skins for the other side. So I'm gonna get the stuff ready and then I will be right back. I have all the stuff for the paper skins ready now. I have my template, I have my fins, and I have the spray adhesive. So we're gonna do the same exact thing that we did with the other ones, but we're doing the other side. So we are going to do a time lapse. I hope you enjoy.
I'm dreaming, you're wondering, we're waiting, when does our life begin? I'm flying, you're walking.
I just finished with the paper skins, and we are going to let these dry, and then we're going to sand them smooth and sand off the excess paper. The paper skins are done drying, so we are going to get some 240 grit paper and sand off the excess paper and also smooth down the sides. You guys already know how I did it before with the other side, but some glue did get on this side, so I'm going to sand that down a little more, even though I already sanded it. So, yeah, I'm going to get some sandpaper, and then I'll be right back. 240 grit sandpaper, you guys already know what's up. Let's do it. Let's go. Here is a time lapse. So I'm not done sanding them yet, but I did discover this little edge is peeling up. So I was going to put a little bit of extreme power thin on it. So I'm going to get my wax paper out. Set those fins aside for now, but I'm going to get my wax paper out. And I'm going to be putting on the extreme power thin. So here is a quick time lapse. So I've finished putting some extreme power thin here, but that flap is going to continue to peak up. So I'm going to fold up this wax paper. For now, we'll put it like this. And the extreme power thin's right there. So I'm going to be putting something heavy over it to make sure that it will stay down. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay guys, so now that I'm done putting some CA on that one fin, I still have this other fin that I need to sand. So we will continue the other time lapse.
Call me up when you're sober, when you shine and changed. You give it up like it's over, but never give it away. And I don't wanna fall for you.
I am now done sanding these two fins, but the other fin I'm gonna have to sand once the super power thin dries. So we're gonna wait for that to dry. Okay guys, so the CA or the super power thin or the extreme power thin finished drying, but it didn't work. So it's not like, it's still smooth, and I didn't really have to sand it down. So we are done with the fins. So I can set the sandpaper aside, and if we look at our next step here, right here we have our nose cones, of which we have two. Sand, or first off we have to cut off this part, and then we're gonna sand the bottom. We're gonna sand the sides. We're gonna sand one of the arrows off of the side, and then we're going to mark them at 1 1/4 inch, apparently, and then we're gonna put the fin there, and then we're gonna glue them. So that seems relatively simple. So I'm going to get the nose cones out, and then I will be right back. Sorry, I've always wanted to do one of those transitions. Here are our nose cones. So we're gonna open them up. If I can get them open, there we go. There's probably a better way to open this. And probably a lot of you guys are going to make fun of me in the comments down below. I honestly don't even care. So, yeah. We're going to take these out of the package, if I can get them out of the package. Here we go, that's one. That is two. And then we have our third and final nose cone right there. Perfect. So, we have to cut off this little part right here. So, I'm going to get to my little cutting board. And then I'm going to get an X-Acto knife. And we're cutting plastic, so I'm gonna get the bigger one. And yeah, so I'm gonna cut this part off for all of them. So here is a time lapse. I am now done cutting the ends off. As you can see, the ends are probably different sizes. I didn't cut them the best, I don't think, which means I'm gonna have to do a lot of sanding on the ends to make them even, because you have this one, you have these two. It's gonna be, I'm gonna have to sand them, but I can put up my cutting board, and now we have some sandpaper, so I'm gonna sand these and get them even. So here is a time lapse. This particular nose cone is so uneven. I think I'm gonna have to move up. Look at that. To 120 sandpaper. And alas and behold, here is the 120. I said higher grade sandpaper, I meant lower. Or if I did say lower, then I'm just repeating myself. But yeah, like I said, this is so uneven and not smooth. The other sandpaper was smoother, and I couldn't get as much off, so we're going to continue the time lapse now that I have some rougher sandpaper that will hopefully actually take a decent amount off.
I'm from the east side of America, where we choose pride over character, and we pick sides, but this is us, this is us, this is, I live on the west side of America.
So they're all now done, but if you look at them, size comparison wise, they're not accurate. They're all, this one's the tallest, this one's second tallest, this one's third tallest, and the third one goes all the way down to this, and it's also not even. So I'm going to try and sand that out. I might try and sand these ones down to where they just look even with the other, so I'm going to do that now.
Somebody, somebody. Somebody, somebody, babe. Somebody, somebody.
Now I am definitely glad that I did not do this in my room, because look at all this. That was all plastic that I sanded off. And because of that, these are now all the same height, which is nice. They have a little stuff in them, but anyway. So now that they're all the same height, I want to look at the instructions. Because where did I have to mark it? I had to mark it 1 1/4 inch up from where 1 1/4 inch up from where from the very bottom, but I sanded them down some because I messed up, and I'm wondering now that's gonna come back to haunt me. And why in the world is these were in the nose cones? It's like other plastic or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of cool. But also, I wanted to. That was about 1/4 of an inch, right? Had to be. So this right here was what I'd cut off of the one of them that was very, very inaccurate. So I'm going to measure this with a ruler, and we're going to see how big it was and whether or not it was about 1/4 of an inch. If it was about 1/4 of an inch, then I'm just going to estimate to 1, but that is not inches, that's centimeters. It's about 1/8 of an inch. So since I practically sanded off 1/8 of an inch, I'm only going to mark it at 1/8 of an inch, 1 1/8 rather than 1 1/4, because I have very bad cutting skills. And yeah, we'll make it work. It'll be fine. So, pencil is what I need. So, I'm going to get my pencil right here, and then we have a ruler. So from the very bottom, I need to mark 1 1/4, or 1 1/8 technically. So 1 1 1/8, so right about there. Right there, yeah. So there's our line. And this particular, so then, yeah, we put the fin down to that line, and then it will, yeah, it'll line up. So, that means that on the actual finish of the thing, hold up, let's test this. This is when he realized that he messed up. Like this. It should have been curved to fit the nose cone. I don't know what I'm going to do about that, but it does not fit perfectly. Wonderful. So you guys are probably wondering, well, what am I going to do about that? I honestly don't know. Maybe we could put some filler in there once I'm done. But if it's supposed to be against it, then I don't know what the flip I did wrong, but I definitely did something wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna mark these really quick, and then we'll go from there. Oh my gosh, guys. I have spent so much time off camera for you guys building this rocket, doing all this stuff. So in the last clip, you saw the nose cones wouldn't even fit on the fins. Okay? Well, I have fixed that problem. As you can see, well, I sanded a lot off camera. These are now nice and smooth. I had to re-glue some parts of the paper skins to make sure that they stuck. They're still rounded, nice and neat. Then on the sides now, there's not any more like ripped paper anywhere, which makes it look a lot nicer. As you can see, you guys can probably see a very big difference from what they looked like in the beginning. But I've done so much sanding off camera, and now this, as you guys can now see, is a little bit curved right there. Well, that is because it is made to fit the nose cone at the perfect angle right there where the mark is. It goes on the mark. So now what I'm going to do now is, as you guys can see, when I put the fin on, it doesn't go all the way up to the top. So I want to mark where it goes up to because I want to be able to use this line that's on the nose cone that normally I sand off on nose cones as a reference to make sure I put it on the fin straight. Of which I now have super glue. Not sponsored, but I now have super glue, which is a lot nice. Comment hashtag a lot nice in the comments down below. But anyway, so yeah, that's really nice that I now have super glue. I also sanded these some more, make sure they're level and everything, so they're all the same height now. And they sound like cowbells. Yeah, so I'm gonna mark on each fin where the top is, and then the distance between these two marks, I'll keep that. I'll keep the line there for a reference, but then I'm gonna sand off the line under it and the line above it, and then I'm gonna sand off this line because that is going to be on the finish, and I don't want that. So here's a quick time lapse of me marking the nose cones. I am now done marking these nose cones, top and bottom of the fin of where they're gonna go. They line up all to be about in the same area, so we're on the right track. Haven't screwed up yet. Actually, I take that back. The fins, massive screw up, which is why I had to do it off camera. I'm sorry if some of you guys wanted to see that, but literally all it was just sanding, gluing, and more sanding. So yeah, it wouldn't have been interesting, so I didn't put it in the video. But I can be Wolverine. But anyway, so I'm gonna set these aside. I'm gonna get out a piece of 240 sandpaper, and we're gonna sand down the lines on both sides of these nose cones. And then I'm not gonna sand here because, like I said, I'm gonna use that as a reference line, but I'm gonna sand the top here and right this line right there. So these two lines I will do. I'm keeping the middle line part, and then I'm sanding the opposite end because that will show up on the finish, and I don't want that on the finish. So here is a time lapse. So I decided to kind of cut this part into two parts, but I've now sanded the whole line on the non-marked side, so now I'm going to do the marked side. That was really all I wanted to say, so time lapse continues. Yeet. I've always wanted to do that. Done sanding. So, I am going to magically make a paper towel appear right here. And just like that, done. Actually, there's two. There's a dry one and there's a wet one. This is just what I needed because after getting done sanding these nose cones, our next step in the instructions, if I pull those out right here, we have to glue the nose cones, we already marked them and everything, to the fin using CA, aka super glue. So, set that aside for now. And so we are going to do that now, but we need to wipe down our nose cones first with a wet paper towel. So that is what I'm doing right now. As you can see, that's one, that's two, in a second. Because there's just a bunch of sanding dust on them and they don't look like that you know, we want it to be able to not have any dust on it and just to be able to be clear, so that, you know, so now they wipe down with the paper towel, and I also have a dry paper towel because I am going to dry them off. One dry, two dry, and finally 3 dry. Set our pencil aside, make sure so the marks are nice and solid, and they look pretty good. So I am done with the paper towel. We have our wood glue right here, and we have our 3 fins. We are going to be gluing the nose cones to the fins right now. So here is a time lapse. Neat. I've always wanted to do that. Done sanding. So I am going to magically make a paper towel appear right here. And just like that, done. Actually, there's 2. There's a dry one and there's a wet one. This is just what I needed, because after getting done sanding these nose cones, our next step in the instructions, if I pull those out right here, we have to glue the nose cones, we already marked them and everything, to the fin using CA, aka super glue. So, set that aside for now. And so we are going to do that now, but we need to wipe down our nose cones first with a wet paper towel. So that is what I'm doing right now. As you can see, that's 1, that's 2 in a second. Because there's just a bunch of sanding dust on them, and they don't look like that. You know, we want it to be able to not have any dust on it and just to be able to be clear, so that, you know, so now they wipe down with the paper towel, and I also have a dry paper towel because I am going to dry them off. One dry, two dry, and finally 3 dry. Set our pencil aside, make sure so the marks are nice and solid, and they look pretty good. So I am done with the paper towel. We have our wood glue right here, and we have our 3 fins. We are going to be gluing the nose cones to the fins right now. So here is a time lapse. Finally, I am done. Not fully done, but mostly done. So, as you guys can see, I got a new piece of cardboard for gluing. I hope you guys like it. I got a new one just for you guys. You guys are welcome. Yeah. Leave a like on this video. I put so much effort into this video. You guys have no idea. I edit it by myself. It's all the music in the background, all the time lapses, everything I do by myself, and then I also build it by myself. And the time lapses. Some of these time lapses are put up to like 16 times the speed, and maybe some are like 8 times, 32 times. It's ridiculous, but that's how much time I put into this. Yeah. So anyway, so these two fins, I put some little tiny fillets on to try and make it a little more sturdy. This is the first one this is the first one I did right here. I wiped off all the excess glue. This is the third one I did. I'm trying to continue wiping off the excess super glue that I don't need right there, because it keeps on flowing down because I have them sitting up against something like this, which is nice. Now you guys probably saw me pull out this little like red thing, which I'm about to show on camera. You guys probably saw me pull this thing out. This is for the bad fins that do not behave. Other ones, they were good. They were good fins, but this one, for whatever reason, I started gluing it, started to set, and then I realized it was off-centered, so then I had to kind of like push it and force it a little, and it was fine. It came off, but then I couldn't get it back on, pretty much. So, what I did is I put it in this thing because I just needed something to hold it up straight, and then I tried my best to get the nose cone on as straight as I physically could. I still don't know if I did the best job, but it looks like the super glue has started to set now, so I think I should be okay to take it out of this little grip thing. It should be able to hang upside. There we go. Perfect. That's literally perfect. Okay, so I am going to do some quick fillets on this, and then I'll be right back. So here's a quick time lapse. I've now done a fillet on this one. So if you guys don't know what a fillet is, it's pretty much some glue you put like I put some glue right there. I'm not gonna touch it because it's super glue, but anyway, it's pretty much glue you put in like a tiny little like crevice or whatever, the side of the fin, and it is made to strengthen it and kind of get glue in the cracks where glue wasn't already, and it's supposed to strengthen it. So yeah, so when I end up attaching the fins to the rocket in the third part of building this rocket, I will end up so I will put fillets in between the fins and the rocket to, of course, strengthen the bond. So I'm going to let these dry, all three of them, and then I'm going to sand some imperfections from the glue that I see on the nose cones and the fins, and then yeah, so we will be back when these dry. Long and behold, the now dry fins with the nose cones attached. So yeah, we're gonna sand these down, get any excess glue off of them right now. So as you can see, I have this little tiny just slit of sandpaper so I can get into the cracks more better. So yeah, so here is a time lapse. I am now done sanding these. Now if you guys watch, they all fall down like that, but I'm done sanding these. They're nice and smooth now, and every single I'm really not taking care of this anyway, but they're smooth in like every single place, and yeah, so you can like stand them up together. It's kind of cool. But I've sanded here, sanded off any excess glue, sanded in the cracks between here, and overall, like I said, sanded off the excess glue. So that is the end of this part. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are amazing. I really do appreciate the support on the channel. You guys are epic. If you guys are not already subscribed to my channel, and you have not left a like on the video yet, be sure to leave a like in case you're excited for part 3. And turn on notifications and become a part of the Floosh Force. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the best. And have a great and awesome rest of your day. Bye.
Go to